together in partnership on comics.
Yeah, I think one of the things that piqued our interest too is that Dark Horse wasn't just interested in doing just any, yeah, sure, let's just put out a Mass Effect comic. No, they wanted specifically to keep it genuinely Mass Effect and keep it true to the series. I think that was why they asked me, a guy who's never written comics before, to try my hand at it, and they've been exceedingly patient, especially Dave, the editor. I was a bit of a noob when I came out. It was fun. Trying things out, and but they, I think Dark Horse has obviously a really keen eye for just what makes a fantastic graphic novel, and so we just leave that to them and know that they have that expertise, and I bring the story side and Mass Effect to it, and I think it's been a great partnership. I agree.
So, we're moving into our third series now. Up on the screen right now, you can see the Evolution trade, which collects our second series. Mac, maybe you can talk a little bit about what the plot line in that is and how it ties into the game.
Yeah, well, the Elusive Man is one of my favorite characters. I get asked that a lot. Who's one of your favorite characters, right? For Elusive Man, partly because he's so gray morally. You just never know where he's coming from. If you want to side with him, you don't want to side with him. And I just thought, we did such a good job of keeping him elusive in the game, but we had to give the fans something. And we wanted to develop something. We had a small backstory for him. We hadn't really fleshed it out because we didn't need to for the Mass Effect 2 game at that point. I was like, this was a perfect opportunity. We sort of talked to Dark Horse about it. They thought it was a good idea too, and thus we have the Evolution. And it's not just about, it obviously follows Jack Harper, who's the Elusive Man before he was the Elusive Man. But it also kind of brings about sort of the inception of Cerberus as well and how that all came about. And it's fun because it goes back in time, lets us kind of go back to a stage in the Mass Effect universe, for those of you who haven't read it, that is, for Jack in this series, everything beyond the Soul Relay, beyond, Earth's solar system is kind of new to most people. If you're not in the Alliance, you're not out there, you probably don't know much other than what you've seen on bids or anything like that. So there's that sense of that, it's almost like in Mass Effect 1 when we were all exploring the universe for the first time together. It's that sort of sense of going out and exploring and seeing things, and there's a bit of, everyone's a little bit on edge with everyone else. Nobody knows who to trust. And yeah, it's a fun romp too. There's lots of good action there. We don't see this man wielding a gun, in the timeline now, but it is fun to go back and look in the past and see that he could handle himself. Back then, kick some brilliant ass.
And on that point, Mac, as you touched on earlier, obviously writing a game is quite a bit different from writing a comic. Do you feel like there are things that you were able to do in the comic that you wouldn't have been able to do in the game, and maybe just sort of the differences in that process in general?
Well, yeah, I think obviously the biggest difference is that this story centers around someone who isn't Shepard, right? The games center around Shepard, and we see all these characters through Shepard's eyes. But now we can kind of follow, in this case, this man Jack Harper, previously to the Aura. Talked about Invasion a bit with Aria Slope. And it just allows me as a writer, but you as the reader, just to follow someone else in the Mass Effect universe, but on their journey instead of Shepard's journey. So I think that's one of the key things that's different. Obviously for me, it's also a lot easier writing straight down the middle, linear story. I don't have to worry about player choice in this. I don't have to worry about what the reader's going to choose if it's morally good or bad. I just tell a certain story a certain way. So that certainly makes my job a little bit easier.
Sorry, could you guys just speak up a little bit or move the mics or something? It's really loud outside.
Oh, okay, sure.
Thanks.
All right, so on to that. Mass Effect Invasion is our next series, which is going to be launching actually in about a week. But as a matter of fact, before we even talk about Invasion a little bit, just so you guys know, we did produce a special version of Invasion #1, which is available only at the Dark Horse booth right now, that was just for New York Comic Con. It's got this amazing piece of concept art here that literally you won't be able to get this cover in stores. We did a very limited number, and as far as I know, we're nearly sold out. So if you haven't picked one up yet, I would definitely advise stopping by and doing so. But on to Invasion, maybe you can talk a little bit about, I know Invasion is going to sort of lead directly into Mass Effect 3, right? So that's that's probably the thing that people are most excited about right now in this room. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that, what the plot looks like, and maybe how it will tie into the game.
Yeah, like I said, with Evolution, we went back in time, but now we're back in the timeline. This is the events of the invasion happened directly before Mass Effect 3. And, you know, everybody knows, well, I'm hoping everybody in this room knows that, you know, the Reapers are coming back. It's not a spoiler anymore. We know they're going to hit her. But we also know that there's some stuff going on with Cerberus, and, you know, they don't quite seem to be on our side. And this story of Invasion kind of looks a little bit at that and how they're, some of the shenanigans, I guess, that Cerberus are up to right leading up to Mass Effect 3. It also obviously follows Arya T'Loak, one of my other favorite characters. We did an 8-page with her incursion, and I'm trying to remember when I did that, but I remember thinking that was a whole lot of fun, but 8 pages is not nearly enough for someone as badass and awesome as Arya. It's like she needs her own series, and again, you know, Dark Horse was keen on doing something like that, and we found a way to fit it into the story that we wanted to tell in Mass Effect 3. Yeah, so some of the things that we'll be seeing in Invasion, of course, we'll be able to then hear about in Mass Effect 3, and then potentially even follow up later on.
Yeah, I believe Incursion, that was the DHHD story, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
So that was about, yeah, just about a year ago. And actually, on that note, if you guys haven't read that story, there's that and another story that we did for, we used to publish an anthology with MySpace before it became the abandoned strip mall of the internet. That was called MySpace Dark Horse Presents. And we ran that for about 3 years, and actually one of the last stories we did, if not, I think it might have even been in the last issue, was a Mass Effect story. So, and we've got those 2 stories available for a digital download actually as of this weekend for 99 cents. So if you guys didn't get a chance to check it out, you guys can check it out digitally now at digital.darkhorse.com. So we've got a couple pages to look at from Invasion. Another thing about Invasion, we have a 8-page preview up for free right now digitally, which you can also check out. Now, so on to that, you know, obviously when you're dealing with producing a comic, you're dealing with a much smaller team than what you're dealing with, obviously, when launching a game. But you know, maybe a little bit about, you know, Nick. I know you were involved with Dave sort of in the process of selecting the artist, looking at who we wanted to do covers and how we really wanted to portray the Mass Effect world, right? And you know, Mac, maybe talk a little bit about what it's like to sort of see this stuff sort of come alive in comics, you know, and how you feel about working with the artists we've chosen and everything.
Yeah, so as far as the interior artist who's worked on the first 2 series, and then is going to be working on Invasion also, Omar Francia, I'd seen his work in Star Wars. He worked in Star Wars Legacy for quite a while. And there was a cover I remember that was 2 Jedi in these amazing suits, and they were fighting with lightsabers underwater. It was the kind of craziest scenes I'd seen on the cover. I didn't even think that was possible, but and the way the armor looked, it really echoed some of the characters in Mass Effect. You know, Shepard's armor and Garrus's armor. It really jumped out at me, and I approached the editor, Dave Marshall, about that. And in addition to the way he rendered the vehicles and all the different alien species and all that, he just really seemed like a great fit to propose to Bioware to work on that, and working on it ever since. For the cover artist, we have Massimo Carnival, who worked on Evolution, and he's working on Invasion. If you remember a book called Why the Last Man, he was the cover artist on that, and also worked with us on Terminator. And really had this his style was very dramatic and very, it really was evocative. And we thought it would be great, you know, to kind of get that cover that jumps out at you. And so he's done a really great job on this program, and it's great to know.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the pleasure of meeting Omar, and it was this year last year. Yeah, he's a great guy. The fun thing with comics, I find, is that you get a turnaround so much faster. They said smaller teams, but also smaller development cycles. I mean, I've been working on the Mass Effect series now for 7 years, and you know, we haven't even got our 3rd game out the door yet, so it's going to be almost 8 years by that point. So from the time I might envision a story or a character to the time where that character is fully voiced in the game, and I get to see a conversation that can take literally years sometimes. And I'm not a patient person. So the instant gratification side of me kind of enjoys working in comics because we can get the story done relatively quickly, we get the sign off done, and then within weeks, if or sometimes just a couple months, boom, I've already seen inks and I'm seeing it come to life. And that, for me as an artist, as a writer, that's very gratifying. I really enjoy that. I think the other thing I really enjoy is just seeing how all the different artists put their take into the Mass Effect universe. I mean, everything's still very clearly Mass Effect. You recognize it right away, which is awesome. But Omar, Massimo's work that they've done just allows us kind of a different glimpse into the world of Mass Effect, which I really love. It's fantastic just to see how they're going to take it. We've talked, maybe in the future doing other stuff with other artists. I just think that's a fantastic idea. Just expanding it. It's the same with when you get the Star Wars Legacy stuff. You just see it, it's like, yeah, that's Star Wars, but it's just that slightly different take, and yeah, I really enjoy that.
So definitely, kind of on the subject of art, we have a book that we're going to be publishing in February that hopefully all of you have heard about by now, which we're going to actually show off the cover of for the first time. Pretty awesome image, right? That is better than my bank account balance, just in case you were wondering. And so, Nick, obviously this project was sort of the next stage of our partnership with Bioware. I mean, taking what we've been doing with comics and doing something beyond that. How did this come about, and what are we going to see in this?
Yeah, so, I think many of the people in this room had seen bits and bobs of the concept art from the Mass Effect franchise, and also seen some of the amazing big concept art pieces that I think were outside of the store, and I really thought we had some great art programs that were going on. Things with Frank Miller and Mule, and all of it was a book for American Middle East Alice 2, Alice Madness Returns, and really thought how about have a book, a nice hardcover book that really features all of this amazing artwork, and have something that's out there covering all three of the games in one book, and have a great book out there on the shelves a bit before the game comes out for everybody. So, and it was a great collaboration of course design and Derek Watson, our director of Mass Effect, and really is coming together well, so we're really excited about it.
A couple interiors we take a look at here as well. Yeah, everybody's second. I've seen a couple camera crotches. So. If you work in the media, just hand me a business card on your way out. We're totally cool. All right, so of course, all of this leads into the third Mass Effect game, right? That's probably what you guys want to hear a little bit about. Yeah! All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Mac actually right now to give a little thought on what you can expect. Maybe some teasers and definitely no spoilers.
Yeah, I think for if you I don't know what I will tell you new, but I think Mass Effect. I've been telling a lot of the people who've been interviewing me today. So it's two things. One, we just knew we were going to pull out all the stops. This is the end of a trilogy. We're going to do everything we can. I think to me, there's like 3 moments in this game alone that feel like the end of one of the best blockbuster movies you've ever seen. But amidst all of the action and that sort of amazing spectacle, we also, right from the get-go as the writers, as a lead writer, I said, we always have to bring this down to a personal level. There always has to be some sort of personal element involved, even in these big moments. And I think we've really done that well. So Mass Effect is it is going to be a bit of a spectacle and a show, but it's also going to be somewhat emotional. And I think the other thing that's key, assuming a lot of the fans here, you guys have played 1 and 2, was really just taking all of the threads that we had sort of started with in Mass Effect 1 and 2, and then weaving them together into a story that, you know, can obviously take so many different forms, right? Because of all your choices and everything that you've done. Or maybe you're just entering in, you know, Mass Effect 3 for the very first time. And how do we do that story? So we spent a lot of time right at the beginning just laying the groundwork for this story and making it just, okay, like how do we, okay, this person's dead, or that person's dead, and changing the story, iterating it until it really feels like it's a cohesive sort of piece. And yeah, I think if you are a fan, it's going to hopefully fulfill all of your fantasies, all your Mass Effect fantasies when you get there. And yeah, actually, you and I were talking a little bit earlier too about some of the emotion, right?
Yeah. For me, I mean, I take like I'm like the minor layer at the top. At the end, I get to come in and do this, you know, the voiceover, which is awesome. But you will be emotionally spent at the end of this game. I was talking to BC the other day. He was playing through it, and it is a roller coaster ride. And I've been in the booth now for months, and I can tell you I've been crying a lot. So no, it's in a good way. Like, and in a bad way. It's really good. It's a powerful story. Oh yeah, the actors. Handheld, God lover. We've done a number of scenes where there's just been silence after a take. We both just take a moment, and then all of a sudden I'll hear it. So, it's good.
Yeah, and as part of that process, Mac, how much of that do you actually get to see and be involved in directly, you know, coming from a writing perspective, once it gets to that point where you are like doing voiceovers and actually bringing these characters to life? Like, are you around for much of that process? Do you get to participate much?
Yeah, I mean, the writers try to, as much as possible, lay the good groundwork. We try to have VO comments in for all the scripts so that technically we don't need to be there. Everything that, you know, the actors, directors should know is there. A lot of times that's not the case, and also, you know, whenever you've got an important character in, a lot of times the writer wants some involvement. Just, you know, if they had a certain vision for a scene, it's just like, okay, well, this is what's happening here, and it doesn't matter how you've written it, you just want to be in the room to hear it. So a lot of times, you know, like I think I've only been in 2 major sessions, I guess, on this project. Sort of at the beginning when we met a lot of the major characters, and then at the end we sort of did a celebrity week sort of thing. So I went down for that as well, just to make sure. Because a lot of times, you know, you want to make sure you get those scenes exactly right when you've got the people there. Yeah, but for the most part, I just trust our VO directors to make sure we get the performance that you know we're looking for.
Yeah, and the writers tend to, they'll say, Caroline, can I come in for this session because I see that you're going to do this scene? So they really want to be there for, you know, these key moments so that they're, you know, the VO comes back and it's exactly what they want. Because oftentimes they've worked with cine designers and decided what's actually going to be happening in the scene, what, you know, what emotion will be conveyed physically, where the camera angles will be, you know, are they going to be 20 feet away, are they going to be close up, are they whispering? So then they come in and they say, can I just be here for this scene? And it's great. And that's...
So again, we got some more in-game shots here.
I knew who you were the moment you arrived. Assassin.
What are you guys doing there? We have some surprise guests to bring up, gentlemen. Would you like to join us here on stage? Mr. David Gator and Mr. Mike Laidlaw. So I hear there's some news in the Dragon Age universe these days.
There certainly is. We're here to give you guys just a little taste. of what's happening with our partnership with Dark Horse, so that we are bringing Dragon Age to Dark Horse Comics.
And who's going to be writing that?
I am.
Oh. Convenient, right? Hey, remember when we were talking about how Dark Horse likes to do things differently? Like, we want the people who are actually writing the fucking games to write the comics, right? You guys remember when video game comics sucked? Let's not have that happen anymore, right? These stories are too good. We need the right people working on them. So, David, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what we might expect from Dragon Age and Dark Horse.
Well, Dark Horse approached us. They said they wanted a story that was relevant to the fans of Dragon Age. They wanted characters that we remember, and that's exactly what I thought was a great idea as well. So the first series is centers on Alistair from Dragon Age Origins. Teams up with Barrett and Isabella from Dragon Age 2. They go on a journey to some kind of mystery from Alistair's past. It's nice and vague. They go to Antiva, which is a land we haven't explored yet, and they're looking for a witch of the wilds, one of the daughters of Hera.
So obviously, you've worked on the novels for a while now. Is this your first comic you've ever done, period?
Yeah.
How's it been so far? Do you and Mac call each other on the phone and cry in each other's ears at night? Dave Marshall is a tough man to work with, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a good idea.
Real slave driver. Just kidding. He's about the nicest person I've ever met in my life.
Get matching hats.
So how has the comics experience been for you thus far?
Great, great. Yeah, it is a different medium for kids, so it comes with some challenges, but some when you've been working on games for as long as I have, there's also some liberating freedoms. Like we can just visit somewhere and not have to create a bunch of extensive assets. Just hop over there. Hey, there it is.
Right. Awesome. And so the first series is going to be digital, correct? Straight to digital. So we're launching that. And Nick, when is the
first issue will be rolling out in February, so there'll be more kind of specific news and an announcement to come, but those will be coming out as 6 99-cent issues that will be rolling from February through April next year on a bi-weekly basis.
So, these gentlemen have another panel they have to go to shortly, so I'm figuring there's a lot of people in this room. I'm guessing that with all of the amazing people that are sitting to my left, you guys might have some questions. So if that is the case, we want to go ahead and open it up to you guys to ask some questions now. There's a microphone in the middle of the room. If you guys want to line up behind it, that would be awesome. Maybe you guys really don't have any questions. Today's people. Just kidding. We work in this business because we love it.
This question goes to Mac Walters. In the aspect of the invasion, will it tell the story about live servers and main antagonists in aspect?
I don't know if we'll give you exactly the why of that, but it is going to set them up, and it'll give you some inkling into what the implement is planning. We didn't want to be too explicit in exactly what was happening because some of that will be revealed, obviously, in Mass Effect 3 when we play the game. But we do sort of want to draw the lines, the battle lines, and show you where servers stood prior to Mass Effect 3.
Oh, and also, you guys were talking about how Mass Effect 3 is going to be emotional. How many boxes of tissues do you recommend that?
How many playthroughs?
Like one straight playthrough, no metagaming, just I do what I want.
Yeah, everybody put stocks in Phoenix.
Say a 5 tissue there.
What about the Mass Effect movie you're talking about? Live action. Live action movie you're talking about, the producers, the actors, and the director, anything about that?
I have no new news about that I can give you a story.
Because I know Funimation is going to make the anime series or the anime movie.
Correct.
It's coming out next year or just?
I believe next year is what we're targeting for that, yeah.
It's going to be with the game or just after the game or Mass Effect?
I think at this point it'll be after the game. I don't think it'll come out at the same time. Same Funimation. Yeah, it'll be the same thing.
And Samantha's going to be the third one?
Sorry, what's that?
Samantha and Zed for those two characters from Mass Effect?
Oh, Zaid and